What's good, fam? It's Mr. Kelly with Good to the Hood, talking about anything and everything that impacts the culture. And today I have my boy Deuce.
You know it.
And we're actually going to talk a little bit, just a quick little conversation about something that's been kind of hot in the news for a little while. And that is reparations.
Dude.
Reparations.
Yes.
That's big in the community. That's big
yes.
with the culture.
For a few decades, a couple generations.
Yeah. We were talking a little bit off air, and then we were like, we might as well just go ahead and just talk about this. I don't know how that would work, reparations.
Yeah. So with the amount of people that what would qualify you to get reparations at this point in history?
Right. Well, so there's registered in America. There's roughly right now somewhere in the neighborhood about 50 million black citizens in America. So we'll base it off of that number, 50 million. First of all, I'm gonna be honest. I've heard a lot of different ways how this could come to pass. As a whole, I don't think it's gonna happen.
No.
I
I don't see a lump sum of money being.
I don't know how the logistics would work on that, but I mean, who am I? But I just don't see it. And I'm not saying I'm against it. I'm just saying.
Oh no, not at all.
How would it work? So obviously, brothers like myself and Deuce, we're biracial. I'm half black. He's half black. So do we get half of whatever the nut is?
I get 50%.
Yeah. So
we count as one black person.
Yeah. So how does that work? So look, I'm not necessarily even opposed to that. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
My other question would be, how are they going to cut this off? Like, what's the cutoff? It's like, so when you were, what are people that were born in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000?
Did you have to have a direct impact, or did slavery directly impact you, and so therefore you qualify and your kids don't because they were born after that?
Right, because I don't know how that would. So like, there would have to be a cutoff because at some point in time. So let's say, because I don't see how they could do it. So let's say it was 2020, whatever. What about black kids that are born in 2021?
Yeah.
Are they just they don't at all?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
It
Like,
didn't impact their life.
Right, because we're going to still keep reproducing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, Junior my son Junior just had a baby last year. Him and his wife had a baby last year, and they probably won't have another baby in another year.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So how does that work? I feel like there has to be some type of a sliding scale, maybe.
Yeah.
Because let's say they were eligible. So my uncle, because both my grandparents have passed on my dad's side, but so say my uncles or my dad, they get a certain amount, and then would I get a certain amount?
Yeah.
And then would my son get a certain amount? And then would his son, like, how would that?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Generationally, how do you?
Yeah. So there has to be a cutoff at some point. And then, and so look, this might sound a little shady, but if you're from Africa, like my boy that was on here not too long ago, the Health is Wealth video, shout out to my boy Diamond, right? He's straight from Liberia.
Right.
So he shouldn't be able to benefit from the reparations, right?
Yeah.
Right, from descendants of slavery, American slavery.
Gotcha.
So how are they going to take those people out of the equation?
Yeah. And do you further divide a race in doing that? Because like, you're better than me because you got more, or you're more black than me.
Yeah,
because you got more.
Well, even again. So I don't see. So first of all, there has to be a cutoff. I don't know that I would even want to give people a lump sum.
No.
Dave Chappelle had a skit where it came through and everybody got whatever amount of money. And then who's that? Donnell Rollins bought a whole semi at Newport.
Who else? What? Al Roker?
Yeah.
I'm paid.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if the lump sum. I think it's going to be more viable if you were to do something like taxes.
Yeah.
Right. So however you go about proving your authenticity, right? Okay, that notwithstanding, and if there's a cutoff or whatever, no taxes. You don't pay no federal taxes for how long?
A good 5-10 years.
Yeah, I say it has to be 10 years minimum.
Right.
Because the average American, let's say okay, let's say if the average person makes 40,000 a year. Okay, 40,000 a year. Say taxes take
about a third.
Okay, a third. So that's 13 racks. So 13 grand. So 13 grand. Nobody's going to be. You're not going to say it's reparations if they give everybody 13 grand.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
it's not
right?
payback for what my great grandma.
I'll take the 13 grand. But
in a heartbeat.
Right, but I'm just saying that ain't gonna be reparations.
Yeah.
I mean, right? So, so it has to be for a period of time. So based on those numbers, let's say no federal taxes for 10 years.
Yeah.
So now you're talking 130 grand. 130 grand, we can at least
Do something with that.
right. And you can open the conversation. That may not be to a lot of people. That's not going to be fully reparations either.
Yeah, yeah.
But 100, it's still six figures, right? So
Yeah.
130 racks. I make something happen with 130 grand.
Real quick.
Yeah, yeah. The key in that, though, so the reason why I think that'd be a reasonable one, a good one, is one, that kind of incentivizes, man, let's go and make as much money as possible.
Yeah.
Because we ain't got no taxes.
Right?
So why am I going to
Working 3-4 jobs.
yeah, man, I'll be the
Better believe it.
Yeah, so I mean, who wants to work just 40 hours a week? If you can, that's when you really want to work 60 hours a week and get the overtime, get all that because ain't no taxes.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah, so that's
Stack that up.
so that might be, and what it does is, at least for the cutoff purposes, it makes a little bit more sense to me because then you have to be of legal working age,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
And it covers on the back end too, because like as foul as it might be to say, they're the older generation that's not working. Like they should get a break on the tax because they got to pay taxes. Well, they do tax your 401k, your retirement and stuff like that.
yeah, a lot of times they tax that kind of stuff. You still got to pay property tax on the property.
You know, you help
yeah.
out the older generation in that way, and then the generation now that's working, the workforce, gets that cut off on taxes for X amount of time.
I think the key, and of course, so if that were to come to pass, the key is for us in the black community is that's where, like some of my other videos, that's where you're being financially literate, right? Don't just say, oh, I don't have no taxes, now I got this extra 10, 20, 30 grand
Nobody's
here.
Bentley.
Yeah, that's when you're like, okay, now we need to start investing in our own businesses. Now we need to start
Pay off Big Mama's house. So there's a constant.
Yeah, exactly. Pay off whatever you got to pay off.
Family.
It's going to allow you to spend a little bit more and put towards education or towards whatever, because you ain't, so being tax free, I think is one way it could maybe be done.
If done correctly, it could be a game changer.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like,
yeah.
2 years of no taxes and I'm debt free.
Yeah.
Debt free.
So man, so no taxes for a decade would be huge.
I got 8 years to stack at that point.
Yeah, that could be huge. Now, I have heard an idea, Brother Greg, who does appear actually on some of those financial videos, me and him have talked offline about this topic before, and he suggests something like free education as reparations. Now, I see the pros and cons of that. One of the pros is now you equip a whole group of people to really raise themselves intellectually and not be held back by whatever
means.
Right. So but then the thing is, okay, so where's the cutoff on that? Is that associate's degree?
Yeah.
Is that bachelor's? Is that master's? Is that doctorate?
Yeah.
Whatever. So where's that? And truthfully, not everybody wants to go to school.
Right.
Not everybody wants secondary education.
Yeah.
Look, I'm the first to say actually, college ain't for everybody. You know what I mean? I went to college. Didn't graduate. I mean, I did get my 2-year degree, and then I went to a 4-year degree, and I didn't get that. But that notwithstanding,
I didn't go because I couldn't pay for it.
See, so for somebody like you, that might really be like, oh, okay, you know what? That's a great option.
I might swing in there one class or two.
Now, the secondary education, maybe it's not just limited to universities. So if you want to go
like a trade,
if you want to go to a trade school, now of course monetarily the amount's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So if I want to go to school to be a doctor and they're willing to pay for all that as part of the Reparations Act.
Yeah.
But you're like
a welder.
And you want to be a welder.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to squeeze 100 grand out these cats getting a doctorate, right?
Yeah.
You're going to squeeze about 30 grand out of them, or less, depending on what school you go to, so that you can do refrigerator repair. But if that's your passion or your dream, you have the option now. If you don't, so
definitely, it all definitely boils down to like how. I think it's more of an important question to ask. What are we going to do with it, right? Because that's why not having taxes for 10 years is a valid option. You know what I mean? Because it gives you time to start making those adjustments. Maybe you start getting out of bad spending habits. And that in turn fixes your situation before this is up, and
Right.
you're still making all this money. So therefore, you're able to make better financial decisions.
It also allows you the foundation for generational wealth.
Yeah,
That's the
for
biggest
sure.
thing that people don't understand is and not just slavery, but the many laws after the Jim Crow era and all that is we're starting behind the starting line.
Yeah.
Right. Whether people want to we can go real deep into that which we probably will in another video, but.
Right.
The starting point is totally different. And so the 10 years, look, reparations is never going to make it where the playing field is 100%
level.
I mean, it's not going to happen. It's just, I mean, you're talking about what, 3-4 centuries of.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the way it worked for
Yeah.
24 centuries.
So free education, but not everybody's going to necessarily want that per se. Lump sum, I just don't see how lump sum is going to happen. I mean, I guess lump sum could happen because we did do lump sum for, stimulus checks.
We did. And I feel like a lot of people are going to end up pawning a whole bunch of the stuff they were buying because they got that stimulus and the $600 extra a week on unemployment. And it was stacking up, but there's going to be a time when that well runs dry. And if they didn't make the right decisions,
and again, look.
That's why I don't like the lump sum, because I know you gonna mess it up. I'm gonna mess around and take a trip to someplace.
Well, what's the amount? So they have to come up with that amount, just like out the gate. Like obviously, it all comes from tax money and this and that. Okay, that's fine, but it's still a small amount. Like even the unemployment, that $600, was it a month or a week?
It was a month. I think it was a month.
A month.
I was thinking because I get paid every week.
It could be though. I don't know. Look. I've never been on unemployment. So I don't know how that works. But nonetheless, that's drying up anyway. July 31st, from what I understand.
Yeah.
But it's okay. So the unemployment, even at that $600, what are you gonna do with $600? Even the $1,200 stimulus check that some people got, like, what you gonna do with that? Like, most places in America that ain't even gonna pay for your rent.
Exactly.
And if it does,
I got roommates. So I'm a little
if it does, it pays for one month of rent.
Yeah.
So ain't no come up on that. So so it has to be beyond that. I mean, look, I really feel like the tax thing is the best way to do it. Because then, if you don't want to go to school, don't go to school. If you don't, you know what I'm saying?
And if you do, now you got all this money that you just saved from working your job to pay to go back to school.
Yeah, because the biggest thing about getting a degree or any of that is paying it back. So many people. That's one of the big things why back in the day I used to tell people, like, we selling to young people this fallacy that you
dreams.
Yeah, exactly. Like
unattainable.
You get a degree, and then we have young people thinking, okay, you get a degree, and now out the gate, you got your bachelor's, you can start making 60, 70, 80 racks.
Yeah.
Right?
I graduated yesterday, and now.
And then it's just mathematically that's impossible. At one college, say you go to Colorado State University, you got like 25,000 students. However many of them graduate every year, just to keep numbers nice and even say 5,000. Just say 5,000.
Yeah.
Say 5,000 people graduated with their bachelor's degree in whatever. If 5,000 people from day one all of a sudden are making 60 racks a year, how's that even possible?
Yeah.
And that's one. So that doesn't
one
even.
part. Yeah. 5,000 jobs just sprung up.
Right.
Where they're making 60 racks off the gate.
And then how many universities are out there? How many colleges are out there in all 50 states? Like, it's just not. It's not possible. So. Now, look, I'm a big advocate for education, but not always. Look, education's important, period.
Yeah.
But not always for monetary gain. Just to be a better you, just to be an innovator, to be smarter, to be better, to help somebody else.
Improve yourself, improve your
Exactly.
people,
So knowledge is always paramount and important, right? We're just not. We lied to a lot of people and told them, hey, do this,
and you'll make
all this money. And all these people, a lot of times, they're so in debt with student loans.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So you spend, even when you get in your career, eventually, you're spending a good number of years, 5, 10 or more years. Paying that student loan debt off. Because education is big money. Just like the prison industrial complex is big money.
Yep.
I mean, I'll get into all that later in the future because those are big topics right there. It's always followed the money. It's always. And that's why America is one of the richest nations on the planet, because you have free labor. Man, imagine how rich I'd be if my business if I didn't have to pay none of my employees.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Any business.
We wouldn't be having this conversation about taxes. They work.
I had the money.
I get paid.
Yeah, I had the money. Exactly. So, but I mean, the whole reparations thing, man, I would really be interested to hear some other ideas of how that could work. I just don't. Just because I don't see how that could work.
Well, the tax one has always been the one that sticks out in my mind as
Yeah.
the most viable option.
Yeah.
Just because you're not, how do I say, you're not necessarily taking too much away, because it's an entire workforce. It's a whole country that's working.
Right.
So if it's a portion of people that aren't putting into it, I think that's also going to make the government start paying attention to how they're spending the money.
Look, and let's be honest.
Because once you dry up some of it, they start to freak out a little bit.
Well, let's be honest. Blacks only comprise 13% of the U.S. So we're only 13% of the U.S. to begin with. Now, here's something that I learned from Bumpy Johnson, the guy I had on one of my other videos recently. And I had to double check the numbers. I was like, man, is Bumpy right? And he sure was. Blacks in America spend more than $1 trillion a year.
Yep.
13% of the population.
Biggest spenders. And
yeah, and we're some of the biggest consumers. So, I mean, $1 trillion a year annually from a portion of the population that comprises of only 13%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So,
and that would only go up. I think that would boost the economy because now there's more money for black people to spend. Granted, we're supposed to be doing it the right way and spending it correctly. But like I said, 2 years I'd be debt free.
yeah.
Yes, I'm going to stack some, but yeah, I'm going to probably spend some too.
Yeah.
So it's going to boost everything around us in the communities. And
it should be spent. It should be spent, absolutely. It's just what is it being spent on?
Yeah.
If it's being spent on fast food, which is a big one in with young people, but just in the community period, fast food, obviously that's not going to get you nowhere. Rent.
Yeah.
Rent's a big one because you're just putting money in other people's pockets. And look, we all had to start that way. A lot of people are still having to live that way.
Yep.
So, rent is a big one. But just how you spend it, it should be spent, but how you spend it. So if you have that money circling in the black community, it's just going to make the black community stronger.
Or in your family.
In your family. That's key. Look, when I talk to people all the time about the community and how to help the community and all that, the first thing you need to do, people need to focus on, is helping your specific intimate community. That's your spouse, your children, brother, sister, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, right? Focus on that first and have all those people solid and working together. And then start branching out from there.
The cup overflows at that point.
Right, exactly. And then just keeps going and going and going. So it's just what it's being spent on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the big thing. Because look, all them rich white people spending money too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Buying on mansions and
nonsense
statues and.
So I think the tax. I think the tax thing would be. I would still be interested to see where the cutoff would be, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how they
what kind of
regulate.
guidelines are involved.
What would the guidelines be? What would the cutoff be as far as age? Whatever.
The time period.
You got to register.
No taxes.
I mean, they're taking all the information on the census anyway, right? Which I saw this thing on that too, which was kind of interesting. It says that color doesn't matter. Why we still got to answer that question on applications in the census?
Yep.
But it was really interesting.
At this point, it would be beneficial for us to go ahead and fall into that category,
right?
Because it's less work. Yeah, I mean, just send me my check. It's
not exactly. Oh well, because so you can get your reparations to you,
right?
And see who qualifies.
Give my tax exempt card.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, every time I get your paycheck.
Oh, hey, how they had the stimulus card? Oh, but I don't know. We have to revisit that one because you know what? That could already start getting into some Big Brother.
Word.
Now they're tracking you and have it. Now all your financial viability is on this uniform card that only black people can have.
Yeah.
So now they can shut us all down.
And
like
it's not a scarlet letter. You know?
Yeah. Okay, so we'll scratch that one. That one.
No, don't bring that to the table.
Yeah. Okay, so look, we didn't solve anything today.
But we started the conversation.
We start the conversation. And so for sure on this one, I would absolutely love to hear people's 2 cents in the comments, for sure. This would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because this isn't going away. And look, it's an election year. And I don't know, we'll see what happens.
Go ahead and push somebody's buttons the right way.
I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up, actually.
Oh, me too.
I mean, like, really brought up. Like, you never hear Trump or Biden. I mean, well, Trump ain't going to talk about it anyway.
Yeah. Well, Biden be telling people you ain't black if you don't vote for him too. So I don't know. It might be two brothers that aren't they're a little disconnected from the heart of the topic.
But Biden is saying that he's gonna have a black female vice president.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He made that promise.
Yeah.
He made a promise. That's what he straight up said. That's gonna be a different one on another day.
I'm ready for that one. I'm watching for that.
Reparations. What you think? Is it even possible? If so, how? What's the cutoff going to be? What's the amount? We didn't even say a specific amount because I don't know how you can quantify what amount.
What a generation of family is worth.
Yeah. So, look. Anywho, this is Mr. Kelly with Good to the Hood. My boy Deuce.
You know it.
And until next time, folks. Peace.